guys, my name is Michael, and today we are going to talk about new functions which you can apply them to your labels, and I think after that we are done with those functions. I was talking to you about in the last tutorial about, and I think the preview ones and so on, about the Pango library. I wasn't supposed to show you too much information because I'm thinking of making another tutorial about Pango library because it's very important and very powerful. But I was searching on the Gtk label functions, and I saw that there is a function called Gtk Label Set Attributes. So this function helps you to set some attributes to the text in the way how you did it with your CSS or with your markups in the last tutorials and so on. And I think we need to talk a little bit about this function, but until then we have here two functions. The first one is Gtk Level Set with Chars, which set the width chars. I'll show you, and the second one is the maximal max width char, which we'll talk about them too. So let's see. The first one says set the desired width in the character of label to n chars. What this means we'll see in a second. And the second one says set the desired maximum width in chars of label to n chars. So this means this is a maximum which you can set it. In other words, we're gonna call this function which takes two parameters. The first one is the label, the second one is integer of chars. What this means, let me show you. Before we call this function, I want to show you something. Let me run the program now the way it is. You see this space here. Let me drop it. Let me put another halo here because it's very important. You see the text fits here, takes almost all the place. There is no room here or here between the right side and the left side. So this means that the text takes the maximum space which you requested when you created this label. But with the help of this function, Gtk Level Set Level Set with card, you can actually request more room. Like for example, let me show you. Let me pass the label, which I had to cast it. I hate cast, but we need them. Label, and the second one it's the characters. So let me see. Let me put like 10. What happens if I put now 10 here? Let's see. You see nothing here. Okay, let me put 20, and now you will see something. You see here? You see the space and the room here, which you have it now. This is the space which you requested for your label. This means your label has room for more characters here and here. If I put now, let's say 100. Now let's see. You see now? You see how much room is here and here? This is the text which you requested, and this happens to the other function which helps you, the Gtk Label Set Max Width, which is here. Like I already said, set the desired maximum width in characters of level to n chars. This means these two functions basically helps you to find out the needed width of wrapping label. So this means that helps you to make sure that there is enough room for the text, and the text should not overflow your label. Okay, so basically this is the story with those two functions. Okay, let me drop it because we don't need it, and it's not that important. Now let's move to the important function which I want to talk with you today, which is Gtk Level Set Attributes, and says sets a Pango attribute list. The attributes in the list are applied to the label text. The attribute set with this function will be applied and matched with any other attributes, effect, blah blah blah. Okay, so let's see. By calling this function the way it is, says the first one has to be our Gtk label, Gtk label, and the second one has to be an attribute, so something like this. Okay, how do I know now how to work with it? Well, if we click here and we go here, says the Pango attribute list is a structure which represents a list of attributes that apply to a section of text, and the attributes are in general allowed to overlap, blah blah. Okay, so this means in other words that we need to create a structure of attribute type, list type, yes, for our attribute to can set it. So we create a list here, and we'll call it I don't know, let's call it the same list. Okay, and once that we have it, I mean we have this list, now we had to create a new list basically for this one here. So this means we go here. I want to be sure that you understand it, so I put them in another. So we call the attribute list now this time. So this means Pango attribute list new has to be or something like this. Yes, new. It's a void. Returns a void, so you don't need it. Now we were creating this list. This is very important. Now we need our attributes. So let's see what we can find out. Let's go to the reference. I know, let's say Pango or something like this. Let's see what we can find and what information we get. Attributes Pango, and here are those attributes which I'm talking. I mean, this is basically this is the attributes which you need them to pass them here. So you have some here. I already checked them. So let's say, for example, let's take this function here, and says we need to create a Pango attribute here. So I will just copy this part here. Copy. I will go here, and then here is the thing which we created, our attribute parameter, and let's say attribute. No, sorry guys, I'm confusing you, because this function needs the list. So we created, after we created basically our list, we create our attribute and then we point it. Now it's right, and now we point it to our function. We took this one as an example, so we point it here and says this function needs a new size, which will be, so let's take for example 100. Let's see what happens if we take now 100. Okay, sorry guys, because we create, yes, attribute set but not used. We create an attribute but we didn't use for this. We need another function. I mean, I told you that I need to make another video for this, but I'll just skip this story and I'll just show you. So this means we need to insert this attribute in our list, because if you not insert it, then the list is it's empty and there's nothing for us. So the list is called Pango attribute list or something like this. List, yes. Insert, we need to insert it, yes, not before, not after, we just insert it because we need to insert, and here says we need the list and our attribute. So we already know that our list is the first parameter is this one, our list, so we pass it here, and the second one is the attribute, which we put it inside our list. So basically what we did here, let's see, we create a list pointer of Pango attribute list, we create an attribute pointer of Pango attribute, and then we create an attribute list here with a function attribute list new, and then we create an attribute, we point our attribute to a function. This time the function is Pango attribute size new with an integer of with 100, and after that, after we create the attribute with the information which we got from this function, we inserted basically to our list, and then we pass our list to our Gtk Label Set Attributes, which is the main reason why we are working today. So okay, I run the program and see what happens. There is nothing here. Where's the text? The text is missing. Why? Well, let's see. Let's go back and see what does this thing here say. It's a little bit confused, but this is the story and you have to live with it. Says creates a new font size attributes in fractional points. There's another one which is in device units, whatever which you take it now is not important, and says the font size in Pango scales of point. So what this means, they doesn't explain too much, but I know you have to multiply your size against this Pango scale. Okay, when I run the program now, watch. Oh yeah, you see how big is the text now? Yes, because I choose 200 multiplied by Pango scale. So this means you create it as big as you want, the way you want to create it. Okay, now let's go back. Let's take another function. For example, let's take the color here. So we call this function. This means we are not creating another pointer or something. We are going to use just the same pointer here. So this means attribute. We are going to use again. It points this time to this function. This function takes 3 parameters, red, green, blue. So let me see, 255, 0, 255. Okay, and then after that we insert the list again. I run the program now and see what happens. So this time you see our text is bigger and is black. So this means this is the way how you work with Pango. You have the background also, which basically works the same. Let me copy this part here. No, I don't like it the way how I copied. So let me do it like this. Okay, this is the same story. If you need a background changed or something to, whoa, this is too much here. I know 125, whatever. I really don't know what do we need or something. Which is the background. You see the background is black. Of course, it's black because we choose here to be black, and you cannot, as you can see, you cannot make any difference between the text being the same color with your background. So this means you need to change it, you see. Anyway, the important thing here is that I showed you. It's a little bit complicated. You don't actually really work like this, but this is only way to show you how you can work and how you can apply a lot of these functions which are attributes for your and how you can create styles and families and weight, and there's a lot of things. Anyway, just click on them and read carefully what it says, what things it returns, the parameter needs, which is a family. So basically you need a family name for your family, and then you change it the way you want it, and so on. So this is this is the way how you work with this Pango library. It is just an basic information, because like I said, we stick to the labels and only to this function today. So because we use this function again, we had to work with Pango. So by working with Pango, I had to show you a way about how you can make work this function. But I repeat, I strongly suggest you please read about Pango library and information you can get about this library. And once that you learn it, and once that you understand this library, which is very powerful, and you know how to work with it, then you will start to love it, because Pango and Cairo, those two functions are things which you really need to learn them if you really want to work with GTK, and don't just rely on GTK and CSS, because trust me, it's not everything so like you think. I will show you there are some mistakes on GTK 3 together with CSS. There are things which are just not working. They fix it in GTK 4, but you have to make a lot of tricks to actually create a thing like you need to have. For example, GTK entry has a lot of styles, and some of them they are working. For example, you cannot hover. Yeah, it's not working. For example, if you want to hover an entry, it's not working. So this means if it's not working, you cannot do it with CSS. So if you cannot do it directly with CSS, that means you need to fake it somehow. I will learn about this in the next tutorials. Until then, thank you guys for watching, and please subscribe.